What is going on, everybody? I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you saw my last video about mortgages, the types of mortgages out there, and just to kind of let you know that there's not just 30-year mortgages. There's VA, FHA, 15-year, 40-year, there's ARMs. There's all sorts of options out there for you, and really just learning what will be best for you and what's most affordable for you is the biggest goal. And I think the biggest hurdle for most first-time home buyers, because they only know of one option and they think that's all they can afford, and they have to put down 20%. And really the fact of the matter is you don't have to. There are so many options out there. There's so many grants out there that you need to take advantage of them and really do your research. So spiel over. This now is kind of the process after you've kind of discovered what are the loan options you qualify for. You've talked to your lender. You're like, awesome, we're going to go with this option. Now moving forward, how can we maybe save some money in our mortgage before we officially buy a property? So at this point in the stage, you've got your, let's just say, I'm going to keep with an FHA. So with FHA, I think it's 3.5% down, which is awesome. It's super affordable for a lot of people, and first-time home buyers especially. But your rate's a little high and you're like, I don't like that. I'd like to save some money in the long run, because really that rate is going to be the biggest contributor to how much you pay over the life of the loan. Time is not on your side for that. So you do a 30-year FHA, 3.5% down. So what a point is a 1/4%. And so when people say they buy 5 points, well, it's not typical, but 4, 3, 2, a point down. So you give money, you pay pretty much to lower your interest rate over the time of the loan, the life of the loan. Typically, in a lot of markets, you can do a seller buy down. So like a 3-2-1, a 2-1, or you can just do a buy down overall. So a 3-2-1 and a 2-1 are very, very similar. So a 3-2-1, I'm gonna start there. So for the first 3 years, you have a lower interest rate. So how it works is the seller will pay the bank, your lender, give you money to do that, so that you can buy down your rate. So for the first year, you buy it down, their example is you buy it down to 4% and it's at a 7% loan. The next year it goes to a 5%. Then a year after that it goes to a 6%. And then the year after that, in the fourth year, it goes back to that 7% rate. So for the first 3 years, you're saving quite a bit of money over the life, or over those times, and your mortgage payments are also lower too, which is fantastic. A 2-1 is really the same thing, just a shorter time. So you do it for the first year, it's at a 5%. Next year it's at 6%, and then after that time period, it turns back into that 7%, and then the rest of the life of the loan, you have it at 7%. This is really great for if you're looking to save some money. Frankly, it'll save you quite a bit of change, as well as just to know that, well, let me put it this way. Say you know you're going to get a raise, or you know you're going to move up in your job within a year. You've been talking to your boss, you know it's going to happen, and affordability-wise, you just want to save some money in the front end so that you know once you get that pay bump, you can afford that 7% mortgage, which you'd be in good shape for. That might be something wise why you'd want to do that, and go from there too. You'd save more money by doing a buy down like that too, opposed to having the seller take 10, 15 grand off of it too, of the price of the property, which is something very valuable. Again, over the life of the loan, you're going to save a lot more money. Let's jump ahead here. What else we got here? I jumped ahead of myself. Buy down rates. We talked about points. We're not going to talk about that. Typical just seller buy down. So maybe it's not a 3-2-1 or a 2-1. Maybe you just are able to negotiate. Your agent's able to negotiate a few point buy down. So you're able to negotiate a 3-point buy down, which is absolutely fantastic. That's honestly, in my opinion, probably one of the best things you can do, opposed to like they'll give you a 15 grand or a 3-point buy down. Take that buy down. that buy down is going to be your best option, because over the life of the loan, you're going to save so much money. It might not look as glamorous of, oh, I saved $15,000 on my house, but over the life of the loan, you're going to save multiple folds on top of what they would have dropped the price of that property for. And if you want to see the actual numbers, I'd be happy to share this with you. I didn't mention it before, but this Mortgage Hacks that I'm using as my resource playbook, I am happy to share it with you. All I need is an email and your first and last name. Phone number would be great too. And I can send it to you. That's no problem. So reach out to me directly. Don't be posting it anywhere. I don't want you to be getting spam emails, all that garbage. Yeah, so message me directly if you're interested in that. I'd be happy to share this with you so you can see firsthand and review it with me what I'm talking about in terms of savings. So let's come back to buy down here. Let me get to the page I'm looking for. Oh, it was back here. Gotcha. All right. So buy downs, we got that. And the best thing about, so if you do a 3-point buy down, that'd be 0.75% off. So if you had a 7%, you get a 3-point buy down, you're down to a 6.25. That's going to save you so much money over the life of the loan, especially if you're doing a 30-year or even a 15-year loan. 15-year mortgage. We're going to jump to that next. Why 15 years an advantage over a 30-year? For that, I'm just going to use their numbers here. So the purchase price of this property that they're using as an example is $500,000, which even to me that's a good chunk of change. Their down payment's 5% for both. Interest rate on the third year is 7%. For the 15 years, 6%. So your monthly payment for the 30-year loan is $3,100, just over. For the 15-year, it's $4,000. And you might be thinking, $900 a month? That's a ton of money. Car prices have gotten absurd at this point too, but I mean, frankly, that's a car payment. That's a big car payment, but that's still a car payment or two. And so you're like, why would I want to pay that much money per month more over the life of my loan? The first biggest reason, it's only for 15 years. So by the time you pay off your 15-year mortgage, the 30-year mortgage is finally getting to the point where they're going to start paying off their principal right around that same time, which is crazy to think, because the first half of that mortgage, banks want their interest. They want their money. So if that's a big reason, there's one right there. Second reason, over the life of the loan, you're going to save $416,000, which is absurd in interest. So if you like $416,000 to stay in your bank account, that's another big reason why over the life of that loan, you should switch. You should do, not switch, but you should do the 15-year. Especially if you can afford that extra $900 a month, it's going to save you hundreds of thousands over the life of the loan. You're also going to have equity in the property after that. So if you decide after 15 years, you're like, I don't love this home anymore, I need to upgrade, I need to downgrade, you're going to have all the equity in that house paid off. And so whatever you sell that house for is what you take home with you. And you can roll that into your next home, put it as a big down payment, do another 15-year, it's even more affordable. Maybe you got a bigger house even too. You got a better rate, and that's how you build equity over time. You keep rinsing and repeating. That's what you got to do. And so, which is a huge advantage if you can do that, but it's very expensive. Frankly, we don't even have a 15-year. That's why we're going to be using these steps in the next video that I'll be telling you guys too, of how to keep your interest over the life of the loan as low as possible. But yeah, I've fallen in in love with 15-year mortgages, if you can't tell. All right, what do we got? The good old 40-year mortgage. Here's the numbers and why I don't understand, or why I don't get this loan, but it's out there, so I want to educate you about it. So again, the numbers: $500,000 purchase price, 5% down. The interest rate on this one, though, the 30 years at 7%, the 40 years at 7.5%, and those are kind of just estimated numbers. Your monthly payments between the two: for the 30 year, it's $3,160. For the 40 year, $3,125. So you're saving $35 a month on a 4-year mortgage, and If you're that tied up for cash, okay, maybe if that's the only way you can get in a home, maybe. But this is where the big kicker is. Save that money, because over the life of the loan, you're going to spend about $662,000 for the 30-year loan, which is quite a bit more than your original $500,000 you're paying for. But it's nowhere near $1,025,401, which is absolutely absurd. And you're doing it for 40 years. You're spending $1 million on a $500,000 property. You're going to be upside down in equity unless you live in, I don't even know where you could make that much equity up in well, maybe in 40 years there's possible, but it's not wise, because after the life of it, you'd be lucky to have any money to your bank account when you sell the property. You probably have to pay to sell that property. So for the majority of people, it's not a wise decision. Rant over. So there's multiple different versions of this through different mortgage lenders. Being out with Keller Williams, they have Keller Mortgage, which is an awesome tool that we can use with you. And really what it is it's called Lock and Shop. And so you can lock in your mortgage, excuse me. You lock in your rate at whatever it is at that day, 6% today. You can shop around rates for up to 120 days while looking for a property before you lock in for that. So if the rates go up, awesome, you locked in at 6%. If the rates go down, you can then unlock it and then relock it in for that mortgage if that happens over the time of shopping for a property. So it's an option that a lot of lenders do. So talk to your lender, whoever you're working with, see if they do something like that, because that might be a good advantage to kind of just play the market a little bit on those rates, especially when they fluctuate so much, especially lately. All right. Hopefully you guys haven't fallen asleep or started watching cat videos, because I can't compete with cat videos. I try, but no compete. I got Norman. He's cute. He's cat-like. He meows at me sometimes. I'm not kidding. We talked previously a little bit about seller financing. There's a few different ways you can do seller financing: land contract, lease to own, assumable mortgages. I'm going to talk a little bit about the assumable mortgages, just because that's something that's kind of coming back a little bit, because so many people got those really crazy 2.5%, 3% interest rates with VA and FHA loans. And it's really appealing to a lot of buyers to be able to say, hey, I can mortgage 3/4 of this property at 2.5% opposed to 6.5% today. Why not get a smaller loan to fill that price gap from the mortgage to the sale price, and save money on interest? Granted, there's a lot more hoops to jump through. It's a little more complicated, but if you've got a good realtor and they're willing to actually put in the time with you, which they should, by the way, and you've got a good lender, which they're willing to put the time in it with you, again, which they should. If they don't, you need to find somebody that will, because there's people out there. Trust me, I know one. They'll help you do this. And be patient too. A lot of realtors and haven't gone through this process a whole lot, especially in the last, how long has it been? It's not common, frankly. So a lot of realtors haven't done a lot of these, but they'll work your way through it if they really, truly are good at their job. Deed the mortgage, I wasn't going to talk about previously. Wraparound, I'm not going to talk about it again. It's extremely uncommon, but if you need more information and you want to look at this at your own pace, let me know. Again, I'll be happy to message me directly. I'll be happy to send you this whole packet. Frankly, it'll save you hundreds of thousands of dollars if you just use these mortgage hacks in your life. We'll be using them too, and we'll be saving lots of money. So I'm excited about this, and I want to share it with you too. All right, so that kind of concludes where we're at today with that. The next one is going to be those hacks. If you already have a mortgage, you have a property, you have a home, how can you save as much money from interest, PMI, and really lower your total interest paid over the life of the loan and keep money in your pocket, which I know everybody likes to do. So I appreciate you guys sitting through all this, and I'll see you on the next one, and we're going to talk about how to save tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars if you want a mortgage now. So stay tuned for the next one. Thanks, guys.